All right, so now it's being recorded. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar. I have a special guest with me. Let me first start sharing the screen so we could start the presentation, and we'll make some short introductions of ourselves. I have a special guest with me today. Natika, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, about your role in the business.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me today. So for those of you, I am Natika Munro. I am a senior practice solutions expert at Dext. I'm actually also an accountant as well and have been in industry for a couple of many moons, actually. I shouldn't say a couple. And then I moved over, I guess, to the dark side after leaving practice. So now I get to join and be a guest of yours, Alex.
It's great having you here today. Well, let me first introduce then myself as well. My name is Alex Kesselman. I'm a solution engineer at ApprovalMax. So all the technical demos, all the things like that will go for me. And the topic for today's discussion would be how to double your efficiency by adding some of these automation tools like Dext and ApprovalMax. So let's start with a short agenda, just to give you a bit of understanding what we're going to talk about. We'll start with a short poll just to understand what are some of the challenges that you're facing at the moment, what some of the tools that you're using already, or if you're not yet using them. Then we'll move on to the topic on what is Dext Prepare and how does it work. After that, we'll talk about the ApprovalMax, same thing, how does it work? We'll show you the live demo, the way integration works between systems. Then we'll talk a little bit more in depth about this integration, how it can be routed from different parts, from different documents, just for you to know the way the whole integration works. And at the very end, we'll have a Q&A section where you can discuss all of the questions that you might have along the way. Though I would highly encourage you to ask any questions along the way, just so we won't miss anything, just so we'll have just enough questions to discuss at the very end. All right, so the goals are set, and I think we can start from here. And we'll start with first poll, which is for identifying our tools. Let me just, yeah. Where was that? Polls.
Hey everyone, today it is actually 6 a.m. where Alex is. So he's for all of us who have had our day already start, he's just waking up there.
That's true. That's true. Woke up at 5 a.m. It still is dark. Now it's about the time for sun to start to rise. All right, we see people are actually voting a lot. So mainly using 0. A lot of people already using Dext.
It's a good sign.
That's a good sign. A lot of people using ApprovalMax already. Let's give it another minute. Just we have a few more people who is not yet voted. So let's see what will be our results. Oh, that's a very engaging audience today. We've almost got 100% of all the participants who voted.
Fantastic.
So I'll share the results in a minute. Yeah, I think we can actually end the poll straight away because we almost got everyone. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I'm ending the poll. And just like to share some of the results. So most of you are using 0. That's perfect. So that will be one big topic for us. And actually our demo will be mainly focused on the 0 integration, though of course both Dext and ApprovalMax can work with our QuickBooks Line integration. So a lot of you are using Dext, some of you are using HubDoc. So we have a great competition here in between. Most of you, like half of you, are using ApprovalMax already. All right, so I won't have much new to say to you, but still it's great to refresh some of the memories. And some of you are using some other systems which are not here. All right, cool. Thank you very much for voting for this one. We have another poll, so let me stop sharing this screen and we'll start another one just very briefly. So what are some of the challenges that you're facing at the moment without adding some of these approval automation tools, and just for us to understand what is going on and what we can help you, how we can help you with that. So let me start it. Okay. incorrect, incomplete coding. Yes, I love it. Very engaged audience. See how bars are moving faster and faster? Just a few more. Any last votes? Yes, a few more. All right, so I think I can end the poll now, and let's see what is our results. So 80% of all the attendees are actually voted. Let me share the results. So a lot of you, like 59%, the main problem would be with incorrect and incomplete coding. So that's when it comes for actually manual interference, when you need to add all of these details on the supplier invoice, and then you have all of these problems, especially when the people are not in the finance and they're doing whatever account code there is on the chart of accounts. So that's one big thing here. Another big thing, keep track on what has been approved versus not approved. Yes, so keeping track of everything what's going on, especially if you have a large team of staff and they're doing all the different parts and have many layers of approvals, might be very, very difficult, might be very, very challenging. The other thing, spending too much time on admin and chasing approvers. Oh yes, we know all of that, especially when you need to send all of those 100 emails just to finally receive an answer from someone from your team. If they're in the remote locations, or in most cases, like CEOs, they don't have much time, and you need to keep track on everything, what's going on, and you need to receive their approval to actually pay this supplier. All right, great pain points. So we'll have a lot of things to discuss then today. Thank you very much for voting. So we can move on now to the next topic of ours. And from now, I want to give a mic to Natika to talk a little bit about Dext. What do you guys do? And
Cool.
actually, let me. Do you want me to give you? Oh, so I will be just changing my screen. Right.
Yeah. I'll just hit the click button there. So for those of you on the call, with most of you obviously are using Dext already, but for those of you who aren't and you aren't aware of who Dext is, we are formerly Receipt Bank. So effectively, we did a rebrand in 2021 when we needed to have a name because we were acquiring another product. So at that point, we were acquiring Xavier Analytics, which is now our Precision. So you can see here our data journey and where Precision fits into that. So obviously on the left-hand side, we still have our original Prepare, and we'll be talking through Prepare today, but it's nice to see where our other products in the suite actually fit to. And most recently, we've just acquired a sales aggregator or financial data aggregator for, I guess, e-commerce clients or digital sales, and that's called Commerce now. So in the data journey, we touch pretty much that whole complete path, except for obviously jumping into that reporting now where you can see that on the right-hand side. So it's just nice to see our three products on a slide, and that's what we do. So next slide. So I guess in aid of what we're talking about today, how do practices use Dext Prepare? So there's three kind of main pillars we talk about when we talk about using Dext Prepare. One of those being that centralized data capture and processing tool. So it's that area where we can start to collect that invoice data. We can we collect cost data, sales data, and expense data as well, and have all of your clients and all of the documents that we're servicing in one place. So that's one of the main ways, I guess, we use Prepare. The other is just for practice-wide efficiency. So just having that real singular view of all your clients, no matter what ledger they're using. So today we're talking in particular about Xero and QuickBooks. But then also being able to use that as kind of like a pre-accounting or a bookkeeping hub as well. A really really nice way to track some KPIs through the dashboard, or the practice, we call it practice dashboard, and then have that in-app communication directly to the client. So we move from then collecting all of the receipts and collecting all of the data that we need to for the accounting ledger into this area where we can now start to use that data to have visuals on kind of a holistic view on our practice and the efficiency to gain, and then obviously that communication piece with our clients. And then thirdly, we're best in class. We are industry leading AI, OCR technology, and we read about 12 million documents a month at about 99.7% accuracy. So this is where you start to get the efficiency, and particularly we'll talk about the solution with ApprovalMax today as well. But this is one part of the journey where you really start to leverage that machine learning, start to use really great supplier or customer rules. You can categorize and set up kind of transactions that can then auto-publish out to the general ledger. So we start to see some really nice automation coming through there. And so that's effectively how practices use Dext Prepare. Next slide, please. Excellent. So why do firms choose Dext Prepare? And I think for those that are on the call today, for HubDoc users as well, it'd be interesting to see, challenge, or have a think about why, you know, Dext Prepare and HubDoc can be versus, and then obviously having that part of that approval max, so journey as well. So it's really important that we have about 1.2 million users worldwide. So we are seeing a large amount, obviously, of people using Dext Prepare. We are globally as well. So we are one of those, I guess, far-reaching products that gets to leverage really great talent to build a really great product. The paperwork can be submitted in many different ways. And I think it says 9 different ways there, but it is really a true testament to the product to see how many ways you can submit a document through to Dext Prepare. And I live in far north Queensland. A lot of my clients, when I was in practice, couldn't actually, didn't have internet as well. But the amazing thing about our app is the fact that they can take a photo on the app, they can then upload that into the app with no internet at all. And then when they come back into internet or have service, all of the information is then uploaded for us as accountants or bookkeepers to then service them as clients. So that's kind of one of my favorite things about the app. There's other ways you can email, obviously, you can drop in documents as well. So whatever you're working with your client with is the way you're going to obviously push the use of Prepare. We have that dedicated account management onboarding 24/5 customer support. So as Alex mentioned in his intro, you know, the people that you're talking to on tech demos, usually you're seeing as well. So for me, if you're seeing me on a demo, you know that you can always reach out to me as well and use me as your support as well. And I think this is, and I mentioned it before, the true testament, like in the last 5 years, we've grown our R&D team from a team of 30 to 200 people and released over 300 new features. And we're constantly looking at new ways to improve on the product as well. So we're definitely looking forward to, you know, what's in the data journey. And then having Dext Prepare, and I don't think I need to go through, but it's all of those glowing reviews that we do get from all of the review marketplaces as well. So if you had a quick scan on there, we're sitting pretty highly up there as well. So that's kind of why firms choose to use Dext Prepare.
Thank you very much, Natika. Actually, I have to admit, since we're having our own ApprovalMax account in Dext just for testing purposes, I am utilizing that a lot for my own personal use. So I'm sending all of those invoices into Dext accounts, so it will then pass through automatically into my ApprovalMax account. So I'll have all of my checks and all of my receipts straight away in one place. And I'm so surprised that it takes literally maybe less than 10, 15 seconds to scan the whole image and put it in the digitized form. So I'm using that a lot personally.
Yeah, I use it personally as well for all mine, and it keeps my partner in check as well. So I'm able to have everything there that we need for our tax time and our business as well in one place, which is great.
Yeah, that's great stuff. All right. Well, thank you very much on that. So now let's talk a little bit about what is ApprovalMax, and then we'll jump in into the actual demo to see the way the integration works between two systems. So a little bit about ApprovalMax. Actually, I have to admit, about a month ago, we've been to Melbourne, then to Sydney, then to London, and a lot of potential customers, they were approaching us and asking, guys, are you by any chance a part of Xero maybe, or maybe you're part of QuickBooks Online? So no, we are not. However, ApprovalMax can be considered as the add-on, a plugin that enhancing approval capabilities of your accounting software. So we are tightly integrated with Xero and QuickBooks Online. And if you, for example, take a look on the Xero marketplace, you'll find more than 200 plus 5-star rating reviews from the users who is using ApprovalMax on their day-to-day basis. At the same time, in 2020, we became Xero App Partner of the Year, starting from New Zealand market. Then in 2021, we became Xero App Partner of the Year in UK market. And this year, 2022, we became the finalists for the same award. So we are very proud of this award. However, what do we do? Well, before the pandemic, a lot of companies, they tend to have this thing called paper-based approval system, where a person would literally print out the document, they would go somewhere in the office trying to find a manager who will approve that to receive the physical stamp on it, then they will send it via postal mail, which is, I'd say, the least is outdated. Because, well, during the pandemic, a lot of us start working from home, a lot of us working from home until now. And simply a lot of us, well, the whole world is trying to be for sustainable society, trying to go paperless, and printing out a lot of these paper and just wasting so much time on approving these physical papers is simply outdated. So a lot of companies switch to the email-based approval system, which is not perfect as well, because, well, as we've seen from the poll that was recently started, that it's the main challenge for you to keep track on all of those notifications, sending those in multiple notifications, and just keep everything in your head. Let's imagine that we received a bill from one of our suppliers for $100,000. Where should we send it to? Maybe to head of department first, maybe to legal department, maybe to CFO, maybe to board. So rather than you'll be doing all of that in your head, there is no need for that. You can build up the canvas, a sequence of approval steps where each and every person will know exactly what they need to do on the time they need to do. So for a approver standpoint, the whole process is very, very seamless and very transparent, because they can simply do the whole approvals on the go via mobile app or via email notification or via web application, whatever they can, whatever they want, it is all available for approvers straight away. And at the same time, for you as an accountant or bookkeeper, you can easily keep track on everything what's going on, because upon each and every final approval, we are generating a thing called the audit report. That is sort of like a PDF document showing you by whom exactly and when exactly this decision was made. So that is on the general level on what do we do. However, some of the key features, well, as I mentioned already, the core idea behind the ApprovalMax would be its workflows, multi-step, multi-level workflows for different financial documents. Might be purchase orders, might be bills, might be sales invoices, credit notes, you name it. So you have a separate workflow for each and one of those financial documents. However, at the same time, it is not only about the workflows. There's actually much more things behind that. So things like bill to purchase order matching, let's say, if you want to have even more robust spend control. Things like budget checking, if you want to bring your budgets from zero, and so your approvers in real time will be able to compare budgets against the requests they're approving at the moment, it is possible with ApprovalMax. Things like customizable reports, so you can build up your very, very in-depth analytics and see what's going on within your account, to see how many bills are pending approval, how many of them were already approved, and how long the decision took, and how many of them were already paid, and what was the payment date. And of course, all of that is available via mobile app. So you can raise your POs and bills, you can approve things, you can see all of the attachments. Let's say when the invoice came from Dext, your approvers will be able to see those attachments straight away from their mobile screen and compare that against the budgets. So all of that is available within the mobile app itself. But if we'll take a look on the app stack here on the right, we'll see that it's sort of like an oversimplified form where each and every tool is located. So on top of things, there is our data capture tools like Dext, who will extract the data from an invoice, who will put all the coding so you won't have this incorrect or incorrect coding on your invoice. And once it's fully digitized, rather than you'll be printing that out or sending that via email to some of your colleagues and then keep track on the approval process, Simply click on publish, and automatically and instantly your approvers will receive their notifications. This document will be automatically streamlined into your ApprovalMax account and ran through the sequence of your approval steps. Only once we'll gather all of the decisions from all of the decision makers, only then this bill will be automatically streamlined into your general ledger alongside with all of the attachments starting from Dext, plus the audit report that we've generated upon the final approval. So that is on the theory. Now, I believe it's a great time for us to actually see that in action, to see the way Dext to ApprovalMax to Zero works. So before webinar at about 5:30 a.m., so I hope there will be no mistakes, I've uploaded one of my receipts into Dext. So let's see. It's already been extracted. As I mentioned, it took maybe about 10 seconds to take all the data from here. So it's one of my receipts from Qatar Airways. It's already been extracted. So basically, the whole integration process is very, very seamless. Once you go into your connections and integrations, just simply select from the list of different options, ApprovalMax for Zero or ApprovalMax for QuickBooks Online. It will take you to your ApprovalMax account where you'll need to select which organization you want to connect to, and that's it. The whole process is done. Everything will work as it should be, as it's been before. But now we'll just have ApprovalMax in between with all of your approval steps. So now let's take a look on the way it will look like from the ApprovalMax side. I'll publish this bill. And once it gets published, instantly within just a couple of seconds, all of my approvers, they will receive either push notification if they download our mobile app, they will receive an email notification if they've enabled email notifications, and straight away from the product itself, they'll be able to see that from the first screen once they log in. All right, so now it's fully published. Let's take a look if we've actually received a notification. It should take not more than a few seconds. Straight away, I received it here. And just straight from my email notification, I'll be able to see all the necessary information showing what exactly I need to approve. Starting from the link to the actual bill in my ApprovalMax account, we can see that it was submitted via Dext Prepare. If you want, you can build up the deadlines, so your approvers will be doing that within a certain period of time. We have our total amount, line items, attachments. So you'll be able to see your attachments straight away from here, and you can make your decision straight from an email notification. That is one way. The other way, and the most preferred way, would be simply from your ApprovalMax account. So basically, once you log into your account, a first screen that you see here, it calls requires my decision. And all of the requests that pending your approval across the board, so it might be that you're working with 10 Zero or 10 QuickBooks Online accounts, you've sent your document into Dext, it's digitized over there, then you just simply publish that into your ApprovalMax account. And your approvers, if they're added, if they're allowed to approve on behalf of all of those entities, they will see everything within just one place. Like in my case, I have ApprovalMax purchase order to ApprovalMax for unlimited money limited. Same goes for bill from Qatar Airways. I have bill from Microsoft for Kafkaesque accounting, and I have bill from Travel Genio from Notting Hill Incorporated. So all of these bills, all of these financial documents within just one place, and I can easily see what I need to approve. So within the actual request, Dext will send us all the necessary information starting from the reference number, if there is any due dates, all the correct coding, including account codes, tracking categories, total amounts, and things like that. We can open the original document back in Dext if we have access to. And at the same time, for our approvers, they will have access to the actual request, to the actual document from the original receipt that we've sent into Dext. So all of these attachments will be sent alongside. Then, if you're using Zero Budget Manager, your approvers in real time will be able to compare your bills or your purchase orders against the budget that you have in your Zero account. And it's actually not showing the full budget for the full period of time. It simply shows you the budget for that particular tracking category and for that particular account code. Like in my case, I have this bill from Qatar Airways, which is coded to product department, one of my tracking categories, and to the account code Travel International. Therefore, I will only see budget for that particular account code and for that particular department. I can see what is my remaining budget and what is an impact of the bill that I'm approving at the moment. And straight away I can see the status. If I want to dig into the numbers, I can easily then see what was my overall budget, what is my remaining budget, how many bills and purchase orders I've already approved, and how many of them are on approval. So that's oversimplified form the way it will look like from our users. But you might ask, so what are the workflows? Well, I see that half of you are actually already using ApprovalMax, therefore you probably know. But for those of you who are not yet familiar with ApprovalMax and you not yet know what is workflows, it is pretty much a canvas of your organization. It's just a sequence of approval steps, let's say for the bill creation of your workflow. It's a sequence of your approval steps where per each of your approval step, you can have a different number of approvers, and each and every one of those approvers will have different set of rules on what type of things they allow to approve. So let's say for this head of department step, each and every person here, their rules are purely based on their department. So Chris will be approving everything on behalf of CSMs, Alex Kesselman everything on behalf of marketing, Marco Polo everything on behalf of product. And we can build up as many approval steps as needed. It is a very, very simple task. We can just easily create as many approval steps by clicking on the plus sign. We can drag those steps whenever we want to, and we can provide rules based on what this person should be approving, maybe based on the amount thresholds, maybe based on the supplier level, or maybe on the department level, or maybe on combination of those things. That is for you to decide. The whole process is very seamless and very agile, so you can start with a very simple workflow and then continue with a very, very complex ones. So that is on the general level the way this integration works. But actually, the next slide on our presentation, and I would like to give mic to Natika to talk a little bit more on the way this integration actually works, the way it looks from the Dext side, and then how it goes to ApprovalMax. So Natika, how does the integration work?
Yeah, so from the Dext point of view, and before we do actually jump into moving documents through from Dext into ApprovalMax, so the integration is a pure API integration. So like Alex explained, it is one of those integrations where you do go in, you choose the integration that you're going to actually use, whether that's the Xero ledger or the QuickBooks ledger, and then you do some customization just in terms of around the GST. So for the invoicing part of, or the costs part of, for a Xero integration, you're going to have that invoice received. You're going to kind of decide whether you're going to push that through over to ApprovalMax for delegation authority, or whether or not you want to push that straight into Xero as well. So the invoice will move from Prepare. Once it's been in there, once you've categorized it, once you're happy with what the information is captured, you're going to push that then straight through to the ApprovalMax workflow, exactly what Alex showed you in there. And you're going to get that, as he showed you, that email to let any of those approvers know, or you're going to have that in the platform for approval or rejection as well. Same with the QBO integration as well. We're going to have the invoice received. It's going to be sent over. Same process followed there. And it just shows here kind of the movement. So it's going to go from, your clients, whether or not you're capturing it, and depending on how you're submitting those into Prepare. Prepare is going to capture all of that financial data. It's then going to move through to ApprovalMax for that approval step, and then it's going to go out to the accounting ledgers. So this, when I was in practice, so a little while ago, I actually implemented this for a non-for-profit. Because they weren't capturing the right delegation between the CEO and then the grant funding, the managers. So just having that ability to take it out. We were already using Prepare, but we needed that approval step. And this is touched on exactly what Alex mentioned before. I didn't have to go around at that point. I was acting financial controller. So at that point, I didn't have to go around and chase for those funders to then approve on that particular invoice. We could do that automatically through ApprovalMax, and then having that hit the ledger without me having to intervene with that data journey either. Of course, we have expense reporting at the moment. That's not obviously going through ApprovalMax. So you can see that there's just a different flow for that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for explaining, because when I was looking at this diagram, I was quite a bit confused at the very, very beginning, but the reality shows that it's very, very simple in terms of the flow, the way it should go to. And once you build this flow, once you'll understand how to automate different parts of these different financial documents, when it becomes very seamless and very transparent from everyone from the team, it's pretty much just purely based on different criteria how each and every document should be considered and where it should be sent to.
Absolutely.
All right, so the question that I want to ask and actually answer straight away would be, so what do we do with the time that we've saved by adding all of these automation tools in place? And let me straight away throw a few numbers on you just to show you how different companies are approving their documents and how much time does it take. So from what we've made like a little research on our customer base, from the industry, a lot of companies who are still using manual-based approval system, like a paper-based approval system, it takes about 2 weeks for them to approve a single invoice. It might be that you can think like, okay, it doesn't really matter. So our supplier can wait, so we'll pay them a bit later. Maybe that is true, but we need to not to forget about things that calls outright costs. So each document, each bill that are in processing time right now costs a lot of money. So what we found from one of our customers who came to us about 2 years ago, they were approving a single invoice within just 2 weeks, and we start to calculate how much money they spend on each one of these invoices. So it took about $8 per each invoice just to simply process that. In terms of the manual labor, the way approvers actually approve things, the way how much time they spend on those documents, on the printing, on the paper, and things like that, on the storage. So on the average, when you're just using some email-based approval systems, this time reduced from 2 weeks to just maybe 8 days, but it's still a lot. It still takes about a week to simply process one single invoice. Imagine if you need to go to the grocery store and you would need to stay in line for 1 week just to get some bread and milk. That's pretty much what happens on the B2B side. On the B2C, on the customer side, we can now go into one of those Amazon shops and simply just not see the cashier at all. We can just simply take whatever we need and go out. But on the B2C side, on the B2B side, I'm sorry, it's still a process, it's still a problem, it's still a big challenge for a lot of companies out there, how to process their invoices. So those who start using automation tools, we see that their time on processing a single invoice was reduced to simply about 3 to 4 hours, which is about 80% of what they had before. And with that time, with all of the time that we saved by adding all of these automation tools, we could then actually do some meaningful work. So we're all right now hear a lot about that world is going into recession. And actually only companies who found themselves in a great position, who found how to make process much more effective, how to speak with the customer and talk with the customer rather than doing this manual and routine work, and how to manage their time properly, that's when the business can start to grow. And that's how you can survive this recession. So adding these automation tools might be at the very, very beginning a bit of the app fatigue. So you need to learn new stuff. You need to actually create those workflows. You need to understand how the software works. And that is why we're here. Myself or Natika, so we are here to help. We are here to share our knowledge on how both system works and how to make unique process specifically for your organization. And once it is done, you will find it's very, very easy to simply streamline your documents and make your business grow. All right, so now time for Q&A. I see that we have a lot of questions actually, so let me stop sharing my screen and let's see what questions do we have. Oh, wow, that is a long text. So Heather is asking, that ability to upload documents when you come into internet range, is this an automated function or does it require the user to actually go into the app to initiate the synchronization of data? I think that's a question for you, Natika.
That does sound like a question for me. That is a question I actually don't know. There you go. I'll admit that. I would assume that you'd have to go into the app to just make sure that everything pushes across. Yeah, that's. But Heather, I can definitely follow that up, and I'll get the tech team to give me that answer, and I'll follow that up with you for an email.
Perfect. Philip is asking, can you make available the marketing collateral used here for the products? But I think for both of us, it is possible, no problem at all. Just shoot us an email and we'll be able to share some of these marketing materials with you.
Yeah.
So the next question is, what happens if the delivery is wrong and the supplier has sent the wrong items? I believe in that case, we just need to reject and send it back to our supplier. Maybe that would be the only solution, unless we want to keep the wrong items and we want to pay for them. So the next question is, what about overseas suppliers' commercial invoices? Can ApprovalMax handle imports? Pretty much any type of bills. It doesn't really matter which company, which organization is that. So we are working globally from customers in Australia, New Zealand, UK, Europe, South Africa, US, and things like that. It is purely all about the approval process. So Dext can handle the digitization forms. It's for them, it's the same thing if it's from a company in New Zealand or in UK. For us, it doesn't really matter which company is that. We will still push this bill through your sequence of your approval steps. So the answer would be it's no problem at all. You can work globally.
Yep, we can definitely pick up, like I mentioned before, we work globally as well. So we're picking up supplier invoices from all around the world. So yep, if we can pick it up, and then we obviously can definitely push it through to ApprovalMax.
Mandy is asking, when a bill leaves Dext, does it add to both Zero and ApprovalMax at the same time? That is actually a very good question. It is not, for one big reason. We want your bills to be first fully approved, just to make sure that your general ledger not filled with all of those, I will say, messy information. So if there is a bill that should not be approved, it should not appear in your accounting software in the first place. Therefore, it goes as follows. Once Dext will digitize it, once you'll publish that into your ApprovalMax account, instantly it appears there, but it's not appears in Zero at the moment. So Zero doesn't know about this at the moment. Only once we'll gather all of the decisions from all of the decision makers, once everyone will approve that, automatically this bill will be streamlined into Zero under awaiting payment status alongside with the attachments and the audit report. So only fully approved documents will hit your general ledger. The next question is, Alex, do you have an example of an invoice with inventory items? That is a good question. Unfortunately, I do not have like line items in terms of the description only, because I have to admit, this account of mine, this Unlimited Money Limited, was created just yesterday for one of the demos. Therefore, I just don't have any inventories there at the moment. However, if you do have any items or products and services that you're using in your Zero account, they will appear the same way. Basically, just to give you a bit of a context on the way ApprovalMax works, we are taking all of the data, all the data points from your Zero account mainly. So all the chart of accounts, tracking categories, items that you have, branding, themes, taxes, and things like that. It is all purely taken from your Zero account. We do not create things on our end. We simply create workflows based on this information, based on this data.
Yep, and we're exactly the same. So Dext, if you had an invoice with inventory items and then you went down and actually leveraged the line item part of the tool, you would see the same thing come through. So we would push that through from Dext into ApprovalMax into the ledger with those inventory items on it. So it depends on how you've set that invoice up originally in Dext.
Yep. So the next question is from Andy. How do you locate search for the purchase order in the ApprovalMax mobile app? Wanting to attach a photo of a delivery docket to the purchase order. That is a good question. We actually have a search in the mobile app, so you can easily find it in your mobile app itself. In addition to that, you can either build a report. Well, in the mobile app, it's better to use search that will show you what exactly you want to look at. And you can filter by the supplier name, maybe by the reference number on the dates, amounts, and things like that. So that will be the easiest way. Jacob, can you explain the no in the flow chart?
Sure, I'll take that one. So the no is, I guess, for those expenses that really don't need to go through that ApprovalMax flow. So in that particular example of the non-for-profit that I was working with, there was a lot of, say, rental overheads. Let's just use that as a really great example. It was on a contract, so we already had, a lease effectively that had been approved for the year. So it didn't need to go through that approval process. So at that point, I could push that particular document straight through into my ledger, and it didn't need to go get the grant funding manager's approval for that. I already knew the splits. I can push that through. So that's the no. That workflow is purely just an example of this is what we've leveraged before. So that's kind of the no in the workflow chart.
Awesome. So the next question is regarding, oh, and I see that, regarding zero projects. So Dext doesn't seem to have ability to apply invoices received to zero projects. So still another step in zero when the bill receipt and there versus entering bill direct to zero, where you can allocate a zero project directly. Comment?
Always like
Actually,
these ones.
yeah.
I just think I'm not going to get into the kind of the ins and outs of it, but I think use a tool that actually facilitates what you're trying to capture, right? At the end of the day, I hope that we will start to get that kind of information into Dext and have that ability to do that. And it's definitely something that there's now a few accountants in the Australian market, we're looking at, and particularly the accountants that work globally as well, what data we're capturing, what data we're able to sync through with the ledger. So I guess for my comment is, yep, fair. But you've got to recognize that some products are going to obviously pick up a little bit more information than the others.
Next question is from Sharon. It's for ApprovalMax. Okay. So simplified for end users. Sorry, we don't use any of these programs at the moment. So end users would raise a purchase order in ApprovalMax and upload the document to Dext. ApprovalMax would obviously coordinate the approval workflow, then it would be pushed to QBO. Actually, with the purchase orders, it's a bit different story. So with the purchase orders, you can you can simply raise them in ApprovalMax itself, either by using mobile app or maybe within the product itself. You can give permissions on what values your requesters can use when they're raising those POs. Let's say on the supplier level, or maybe on the items level or account code level. And once it's submitted for approval, once it gets fully approved, it goes straight away into, in your case, I believe it's QBO. So there is no real need with purchase orders to add Dext here. Dext will give you a lot of value when it comes to purchase invoices, for supplier invoices, when you need to digitize a huge amount of all of those things that are coming from all of your different suppliers. So on the purchase order side, it's much easier side. So can ApprovalMax reconcile statements? We do not. So we are not talking to your banking accounts. So we are all about the approval process. When it comes for approval workflows, that's what we do the best, and we can build up the reports on all of those approved documents. But reconciliation, I think that happens on the QBO side. So the next question is from Rika. When will Dext and ApprovalMax be able to work together to process credit notes? Same as with normal invoices. That's a great question. I am waiting for that as well, actually.
Me too.
I know that it's on the roadmap. It will take maybe some time I cannot give you any ETAs at the moment, unfortunately. I know that it's in the work already. So, right now, since you've mentioned this question, hopefully we could take this information back to after this webinar back to our teams, and they say that again, that hey guys, we have customers who is willing to process credit notes with Dext and ApprovalMax, because pretty much we have everything to do that already. It is mainly to create this integration for credit notes. Therefore, it might be the thing in the future, though I have no ETA at the moment, unfortunately. Unless, Antika, you have some insights for me.
Yeah, I wish I did. But no, that's obviously in the roadmap, and we would love to see it at parity as well.
Awesome. So Lynn is asking, does Dext work with MyOB EXO?
EXO, no.
So same with ApprovalMax, we do not work with MyOB. Though I have to give you a little spoiler here. We are about to release our new integration with NetSuite. So if some of you are using NetSuite and you're looking for a tool like ApprovalMax, I have a great news. You will be able to do that in a very, very near future.
Fantastic.
Yep, that's great news. So the next question is from Nick. Sorry, can you please clarify the adjustment rejection workflow in ApprovalMax, Dext Zero, and how the integration handles the process? And the next question is same from Nick. Can you build approval workflow based on zero tracking? So the second question is very, very simple one. Yes, of course you can. Just like in the example that I've shown you, departments in my account, that is one of my tracking categories. In your case, it might be something else like cost center, project code, or whatever there is. So yes, no problem at all. You can use both of zero tracking categories and build a workflow on them. The first one is a bit more complicated. So basically, the way it will work, if we receive the bill from Dext into ApprovalMax, and for some reason we need to reject that, so there is a few things we need to keep in mind. First of all, if we've noticed a mistake, let's say in account code, or maybe with the tracking category, or maybe with an item, there is no real need for you to reject this bill. You can simply edit that bill on the fly within ApprovalMax. Just change these values and push it through to the next person in line. So that is one way. But if in some way we need to reject this bill at all, once you'll click on reject in ApprovalMax, it will show you the window to provide a reason why you're rejecting that. In that case, once you've rejected this bill, all the administrators of the account in ApprovalMax, they will receive an email notification showing what was the reason for rejection. This bill will go into rejected section in ApprovalMax. But at that point of time in Dext, if you want to resubmit it for approval, you'll need to go back in Dext manually, take this bill and submit it for approval once again, or change those values that you want to change and submit that for approval once again. That's the way it works. I hope that answers the question, unless Antika, if you have something to add here.
No, you explained it well.
All right, awesome. The next question is from Peter. Does ApprovalMax compare bills with a supplier statement? We can do the bill to purchase order matching. So if you previously raised the purchase order and you want to make a bill to purchase order matching, that is absolutely possible. Just actually recently, just a few days ago, we released a new bill to purchase order matching mechanism. So you can now match many bills to many purchase orders. You can allocate certain amounts from one bill to this particular PO, and you'll see what's actually going on with all of your POs. Let's see what's next. So Dave, how do you match invoice to an approved PO in ApprovalMax? Does the invoice still? More questions are falling, so let me just find the one that I've missed. So how do you match invoice to an approved PO in ApprovalMax? Does the invoice still go through Dext and then to IAM to compare to the PO? Yes, that's exactly the way it works. So PO stays in your ApprovalMax account. It might be with the previous version, it should have been approved fully. Now it can be not even approved. You can still do the matching. So once you receive your supplier invoice via Dext, once it gets digitized, once you've sent it to ApprovalMax, at that point of time, you'll be able to do the bill to PO matching. Your approvers will be able to do so. And moreover, once you'll do the bill to PO matching, once you'll approve this bill, on the audit report on this PDF document, you will see that this bill was matched against these purchase orders, and you will see how much money you've allocated and who made this matching. So you have all of these data within ApprovalMax straight away. And you can, even better, later on, you can build up the report that will show you remaining balance on the POs and which bills were matched against these POs and things like that. So all of that is available within ApprovalMax right after it's been sent from Dext. Does it identify the PO on the invoice and auto match? That is a great feature request. Actually, we've heard about it a lot. We're thinking about it, so maybe sometime in the future it will be possible. At the moment, you will need to do the bill to purchase order matching manually. Your approvers will need to do that. You can actually create a setting that only matched bills can be approved. Therefore, only if you do that, then you can push it through to the next person in line. That is one way for you to control that process. But maybe later on, maybe this year, or I'm not sure when exactly, no ETAs at the moment, maybe it will be a thing as well. So we are thinking about the auto matching mechanism as well. So the next question is from Mandy. Can you choose whether a bill goes through ApprovalMax or direct to zero within one organization if you don't need it to go through ApprovalMax? Great question. It is possible. Natika, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I was going to say, yes, it is. So when you go in and you choose the integration, you can have an additional integration as well. So at that point within Prepare, you can choose which one you actually are sending it through. So you do have the choice for those bills. If you don't want to go through ApprovalMax, like I said before, the rent as an example, you can send that straight through to the accounting ledger.
Yeah, perfect. And actually, later on, if you'll need some additional information how to do so, you can drop us a line to our support team, for example, or to some of us, and we can send you the link to our knowledge base on how to bypass these workflows. That is actually one way. The second way, what we see a lot from our customers, they still want to push through everything through ApprovalMax just in case, and you can build up auto approval rules that maybe from specific suppliers for specific amounts, specific tracking categories, they should be automatically approved, though they will still be registered in your ApprovalMax account, just so you have both documents indexed, then ApprovalMax and zero, but it will be just automatically approved. There is no need for your humans to be involved. So that is another way how we can do that. Drop us a line, we'll send you some instructions.
That keeps up the audit trail, right, as well. So
Yeah,
there's no,
exactly.
in particular, if you are dealing with clients that really do need that audit trail, having that setting within ApprovalMax to have it push through keeps up that audit trail there as well.
That is correct, yeah. So the next question is from Kevin. What will happen to the invoice that is already published from Dext to ApprovalMax, but it was disapproved in ApprovalMax? Yeah, that's an answer that I've already gave in terms of that if you rejected bill in ApprovalMax, we will first of all send notifications to all of our administrators of the account. So they will know, first of all, that someone actually rejected the bill. They will see the reason why it's been rejected. So in that case, you'll need to go back into your Dext account and resubmit a new bill if that's applicable, if you have a new bill from your supplier, or you can send it back to your supplier so they will change things and they will send it back to your Dext account and then resubmit it for approval.
Yep.
The next question is from Rika. Currently, users in ApprovalMax can only view the POs they have created. However, some work in departments and would like to see view the POs created for their department. But I'm not sure how we can amend this without changing the user's access to administrator. Thanks. That is a great question, actually. There is no direct way, but I have a few workarounds for you. One would be to simply create a report, and one new feature that I will show you in a moment, the way we can build it up. So let's see, where is my browser? So since users don't have access to reports, but we have one new feature that it might be very, very helpful in that case. Let's say I want to build up the report for purchase orders for my department. So here under my filters, I will select, let's say, product department, everything that's been approved and everything that is still open, everything that is pending approval. I can add all the data that I want to see in my report, like accounts, amounts, and what's an active step, how long decision took, who are we waiting for. So that will be product POs. And now that's when the magic happens. We have this clock icon on top of the things. So that is the report scheduler. We can provide the sorry. We can provide the list of email addresses, let's say from everyone from this product department. Let's say Chris at gmail.com, Alex, and whatever. So we can add all of them here, and we can set that maybe every week on Monday at 8 a.m., this report will be automatically sent to all of the team members of this department, so they will see what's going on within their own department. You can set whatever schedule you want, maybe every working day, Monday till Friday, so they will see what's going on, and they will see all of this information, starting from which purchase order is that, to which supplier is that, who made this PO, who requested that, who approved it. So you can add whatever data you want to see in your report, and it will be sent to your colleagues, to your staff automatically, each and every day or whenever you decided to. So that will be one workaround for that. Let me know if that will work for you. Let's see if we have any questions. Yes, so we do have a few more. So Tamana is asking, sometimes the PO that is raised in ApprovalMax is different from the invoice that come through. So when we try to match the bill with PO in zero, it does not match because of slightly different amount. How to work through this? That is a good question. First of all, matching is done on the ApprovalMax side. Zero, unfortunately, don't have these such capabilities. So on the amount side, there is a few ways how we can deal with that. One way would be to simply ignore it, because ApprovalMax allows you to match bills with POs even if they have different amounts. Even if it's exceeding the amount of the original purchase order, you can set it up in the settings. That is one way how we can deal with that. The other way would be if we, for example, created a PO for £10,000 or $10,000, we received the bill for 5,000 and we have this balance left. We can just simply mark it as billed. Therefore, well, we received all of our goods. It was less than that, so there is no real need to do anything else. Or if it's the other way around, if we receive the bill that have higher amount than the purchase order original one, we can raise an additional PO that will fulfill this gap in between. and then we can mark it as built. That is just a few ways how our customers deal with that if they have situations like that. So let me know if that will help. It seems like that was the last question so far, but we still have some time. Feel free to ask any additional questions. I love how our audience is engaging today. You know, sometimes it's when you do the webinars, you're asking like, "Hey guys, do you have any questions?" And you're like, and then there's
Silence.
a tumbleweed falling through. Like, okay, but today is a lot of questions. All right, seems like there is no more questions. In that case, well, thank you very much for attending today's webinar. I hope that was useful. I hope you got some great information, some good insights on how both system works and how you can utilize them for your day-to-day work. If you'll need, by the way, let me share my screen real quick to show you this thing. So, well, there is no email address from ours. So if you'll need any assistance from our side, from ApprovalMax side, from the Dext side, you can always approach both myself and Natika. So we will help you to build this perfect app stack and the way workflow should look like and the way Dext will work for your organization. So we are always here to help you. Feel free to reach out to us. You will receive the link to the recording very, very soon, within the next 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I see that we have a few more questions, seems like. Oh, no, so that was just thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day. For some of you, it's already night, so have a good night, have a good day, have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me, Alex. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.